And we are live. Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new season of A Bookish Moment. I'm Sarah Burr.
And I am J.C. Kenney. So excited to get back with you because we got a party waiting for y'all today. So lift your glasses and it's time to get bookish.
Yes, I've been waiting, JC, for you to say that all summer long. It has been too long since we have gotten together with our wonderful community, and we are so excited to be back with a brand new season. And to kick off our premiere, we are featuring a premier cozy mystery writer who is celebrating the launch today of his debut whiskey business. Adrian Andover, thank you so much for sharing a moment with us today.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I'm so happy to be with you guys.
I have been so looking forward to talking with you about this book, about your journey ever since we connected this year at Malice Domestic, which another shout out to what that conference can do, and how it brings all wonderful people together. Absolutely love it. But before we dive into getting to learn more about you, Adrian, I just want to say a shout out to all of our wonderful folks who are joining us in the chat.
Hey, folks.
We've got Mizan saying, cheers, everyone. She is celebrating with an Arnold Palmer. Mizan, I'm doing a twist on an Arnold Palmer. Mine is a apricot lavender tea with some mango juice in it. So it's actually very good, if I do say so. Reese could probably hire me if he wanted to. We've got Jennifer saying, hello, Farmhouse Reader, saying, welcome back. The Fashionable Bookworm. Hello, everyone. I'm celebrating with water, which is a very respectable way to celebrate. Good to stay hydrated. And I love that Fashionable Bookworm handle. We've got Alma saying, hello, Sarah J.C., and welcome, Adrian. Paula Charles is saying congratulations to Adrian on his release. We've got Kelly saying hello. Sarah saying hello. We've got DHB saying good afternoon. Rose saying congratulations. And Mizan is complimenting me on my drink. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. What a wonderful, wonderful showing, wonderful support. So without further ado, let's get into why we're all here. We're here to celebrate Adrian on his release of his very first cozy mystery. It's the first in the Mixologist Lounge series, which we need to know, what about mixology brought you to this. But before we get into that, can you kind of give us a little bit of a just a quick blurb about your personal writing journey, what got you interested in writing, what got you interested in cozies, and how it all kind of came together?
Yeah, absolutely. My journey as a writer, I've always felt this burning need to document, whether it be in journals or, as a young kid even, I got into songwriting. I'm a guitar player. You might be able to see the guitars back there.
Nice.
So throughout high school and college, I was playing original music in coffee shops and even bars toward the end there. So that was really the foundation of my writing journey. And then the world kind of stopped in 2020, as we all know, for the pandemic. And I've always loved to read. I've always loved mysteries. But during that time, I discovered cozy mysteries because I could go to places that weren't open. I could go to coffee shops and I could go to bookstores and places that were all shut down, restaurants, things like that. And, I was living hundreds of miles from my nearest family in a 200 square foot studio apartment. I was very isolated. And it was in the pages of Cozy Mysteries that I found community, and that community extended to online. And there's a great thriving Cozy Mystery community, as we all know here. So that was how I got my way into reading cozies. And then at that same time, I had developed a daily writing habit. I was getting up every morning. I was working on writing, and it wasn't long before I started to write my first cozy, which will never see the light of day. And yeah, Whiskey Business is my second series concept that I worked
Oh,
on and
wow.
nearly shelved that one. And I had some critique partners who said, you should really do something with that. And I'm glad they said that because I really love and believe in this story.
It is a fantastic one, folks. Let me tell you, if you haven't read it yet, it's out today. So go get your copy. Reese. Sorry, Adrian was kind enough to send Sarah and I advanced review copies, but I got my official copy on my device this morning. With release day, so that was really really cool. So tell us a little bit, Adrian, about Whiskey Business. Tell us a little bit about the story, and then how did you come to land on this career for your amateur sleuth?
Yeah, there's so many directions that I could go with this. When I started writing, I wanted to kind of turn or kind of stretch some of the common tropes that we see in cozy mysteries, and especially knowing that I was going to be writing a gay male protagonist in a genre that very predominantly features straight women protagonists. I knew that there were certain things that I wanted to stretch. And so one of those things was like, I knew that my police officer, I did not want to be a love interest. And so I thought, what's a way that we could do this? And so, kind of to set the premise of Whiskey Business, Reese Parker, he has just broken off an engagement with his fiance of about 7 years after coming to terms with his own sexuality and realizing that he's gay and on his own journey of self-acceptance. And so he opens this mixology lounge. It was his lifelong dream. His father was a, a mixologist competitor. He competed in the Martini Grand Prix, and so he opens this lounge as a way to distract himself from his heartbreak, basically. And this whiskey club, they come in. They're called the Lifted Spirits. There's this really pain member who ends up dead behind the lounge after the meeting, and the police officer who responds to the scene is his ex-fiance's big brother, and it's a little tense. So I looked for ways that I could kind of change some of those common tropes that we see. And then in terms of the occupation, it really came from the setting. I there's a great cocktail lounge in Asbury Park, New Jersey. It's called Laylo, and it's all music themed. The menus come out in a CD jewel case. The check at the end of the night comes out in a cassette case. And I wanted to do a literary version of that. And so I took all of these ingredients of character and what I wanted to do there with the mystery. And Reese just kind of had to be a mixologist from there. And that's where I came up with his background.
There's so many threads of the story that immediately pull me in as a reader. Reese going through this heartbreak, that's something that we all can identify with. And
Yeah.
and also like just trying to figure out who you are as a person, like no matter like what, like we've all been there. And he's such a relatable character and in a way that like just I don't know. I just fell in love with him immediately. But subplots, the atmosphere of this lounge, I I love a good speakeasy. I love a good like underground dark place where you can drink these wonderful creations. You must have had so much fun coming up with the cocktail menu that you feature throughout scenes of the book. And did you have to like try those yourselves? Like what was the process of really kind of creating this authentic feel and almost like flavor and taste to the lounge, to subplots?
Yeah, it happened really organically. It was, I'm not a super heavy drinker, but I do enjoy to have a nice craft cocktail. And so I collected a lot of photos of different cocktails that I've tasted, or if I did taste a cocktail somewhere, I took some notes or talked to the mixologist or bartender, just to learn those little details that I could really bring it to life on the page. And I was also very intentional about, I know that not everybody drinks and some people are on a sobriety journey, and I really wanted to be sensitive to that in my setting as well and make sure that it was inclusive. So yeah, I leaned a lot into talking about flavors, but also showing the responsible side, even the dark side that comes with that sometimes. So that was kind of a rambly answer, but
No.
that's kind of everything that I'm trying to do, um, with like balancing the craft with trying to open up a dialogue.
And that
Well, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just gonna say that brings up a good point about the kind of the darker side, or just not darker per se, but just kind of the stuff that Reese has to kind of temper himself with. He's often trying not to eavesdrop on people, but it's just like a habit that he has grown accustomed to because of his job as a mixologist and the owner of this lounge. So I'm wondering, like, what traits did you find like the easiest that you would envision for an amateur sleuth that really kind of blended seamlessly into his career?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that there's a lot of people that they turn to a bartender or mixologist almost like they would a therapist. I think if you've ever been to a bar, you've seen maybe that person sitting there just kind of spilling their life story, not just to the bartender or to friends, but even just to strangers or other people at the bar. And so I think that's something that this setting really lends itself to, is that he's able to overhear those things, and he's an approachable figure. He's somebody that people feel comfortable opening up to, and I think that comes with just his very sociable career.
Well, and speaking of sociable, thank you, because you perfect segue here. Reese certainly doesn't run the speakeasy, nor does he solve the mystery on his own. He's got a crew with him. He kind of reminds me of some of the crews in some of Sarah's wonderful books. Talk to us about, we've got Ava, who works with Reese. We've got his buddy Nate, who I need to hire, by the way. So if you got his handyman construction card, send it my way. Talk to us a little bit about kind of that if you want to talk about those characters specifically, or just kind of talk about that group dynamic that was just so much fun to read.
Yeah, Nate is probably my favorite character in the book. He is just such a good friend to Reese. Reese loves his friend Nate so much. Nate loves him right back. I really wanted to focus on a healthy relationship between men, and kind of like an emotionally intelligent relationship between men. And I think we really get to explore that between Reese and Nate. And I was also thinking of Nate's occupation as he's around town. He's, when things get broken, or, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but he very much has his like fingers on the pulse of what's going on around town. And part of that was his family, who moved around a lot. He was from a military family. And so when his dad left the military, they settled in Hope Mills, our fictional town. And he said, "This is my forever town. Like, I'm never moving again. I want to stay here. I love it here." And Reese is very much the same, in that he still lives in the town that he grew up in, which again is kind of twisting that trope of we don't have our protagonists like coming back to their hometown from somewhere else. So yeah, Nate is a huge part of that. And then Ava, just by proxy of being in the lounge with Reese, she's somebody that Reese works with every day, and he's kept this very big piece of himself from her. And I'm referring to, he hasn't come out to her yet, as he's discovering that he's gay, and he keeps a very strong line there. And I think that it is the mystery, and it is the stress of everything that he's going through, trying to crack the code, that it really loosens up that relationship between them so that he can have that kind of personal revelation or but yeah, the thing that I've loved seeing in some of the early reviews is there's so much love surrounding Reese, and that was absolutely my intention when I was writing, was to have a character who's very supported and loved.
Well, speaking of loved, you're getting a lot of love in our chat right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pause to catch up on all of the wonderful things people are saying. We have Catherine Thornton saying congratulations. Annie McEwen saying hello, my friends. Donna McKenzie saying hello, all. Kelly is saying mocktails are the new thing now. And I very much agree with that. They definitely see like really extensive mocktail menus when we go out to restaurants these days, which I find to be very cool because I'm a person that I don't like the taste of alcohol. So if I can have like something fun and that looks fun to hold in a fun glass, like I'm there for it anyways. Like I'll just get
No headaches in the morning.
yeah, I'll just get like ditzy off of the fact that it's like, oh, like I'm having sugar. So I do love a good mocktail. We have Paula saying, as an ex-bartender, I can attest to people telling their life stories all the time. And when Catherine read an arc of Whiskey Business, she said she pictured Reese looking like Adrian. So that is super fun. Kelly would like to know when does book 2 come out? Book 1 just came out today, Kelly.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah.
No, that's the biggest compliment. Truthfully, you spend years working on something like this, and then people say that they read it in one sitting, and it's like, that means that I did my job.
Yes.
If you're turning the page and you're racing to get through it, I want you to be begging for book 2. So book 2, don't have an official release yet, but looking at early next summer, kind of late spring, early summer 2026.
Nice. Well, and so speaking of work, DHB has a couple of questions for you. First, how do you construct the story? Like, do you do storyboards, or how do you do that? And then also, where do you, easy for me to say, where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah, so I did another interview recently where I pulled out this analogy that I had heard that, like, think about cooking. Like, ideas are like your pantry. And so you have all of these ingredients and you're like, I need to cook something, and okay, I have this pasta and I have this sauce, and okay, what is it missing? So it's like, oh, these ingredients would go really well together, but it's missing this other thing. So then, I'm keeping my mind open for other inspiration. That's kind of like grocery shopping, is just living life and just looking for these things and pulling them in. And then once you have all of these ingredients, putting them together and seeing how everything fits. That's, for me, how ideas and inspiration works. It's not a fully formed thing. It's very much grabbing things out of the pantry. And then I'm not a storyboarder, but I am a big outliner, which I guess is kind of the same concept, and it kind of snowballs. So you take that premise, and then, I might have like kind of like a beginning, middle, end bullet point list. And then I put bullet points under the beginning, under the middle, under the end, and then it just kind of snowballs into this big 15-page outline, beat by beat, that I still manage to veer off and let my characters do whatever they want as I'm writing, and then I kick myself. But you kind of have to let that happen to let the story grow organically and make the characters feel really real.
15 pages is impressive for an outline.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just like don't outline correctly, because I feel like every subsequent book I write, my outline gets like shorter and shorter and shorter until it's just like, this is what the mystery is. Figure it out along the way. And I do like the visual of writing being like cooking. And now it makes sense why I hate cooking, because I do it all the time with my writing. We have, and also just to follow up, Alma in the chat saying, I can't wait to read Whiskey Business. And I just love saying that title so much. It's like one of my favorite ones that I've heard this year.
And also want to shout out my good Central Indiana buddy, Anna McEwen. She works in healthcare. And so she comments, it's amazing what people will share with strangers. Yeah. And she also says she loves capital L, capital O, capital V, capital E, Nate. So there you go. So we already know we need a spinoff. Once you're tired of writing about Reese, you're going to need to go into stories about Nate.
I know. I would love to do something from his point of view, even, but I will say, book two, there is more of a focus on Nate. You get
Oh,
to know Nate a lot better. He's kind of at the center of things. That's all I'll say at this point.
Ooh, that's exciting. We have DNSYL saying in the chat, not much of a drinker. The only thing I can tolerate is vodka, so usually stick to a vodka 7-Up or in Canada, a Bloody Caesar. Oh, that's fun. I didn't know it was called that. And pre-ordered the book a while back. Looking forward to reading.
Thank you so much.
I like a Bloody Caesar. I love cocktail names, and I love the names that Reese and Ava come up with in like while they're crafting their menu. Do you have a favorite that you've come up with during the process that you find to be like, oh, this is such a good drink name?
Yeah, I think I have to go with Huckleberry Gin. There's just something about that. There's a local place near me that does like a gin and jam, and so it's totally a twist on that. Just with and I think at my local place it's blackberry preserves, but using huckleberry preserves. And every time I think of it, it just makes me laugh.
That's a clever one.
yeah, yeah. So, one of the things that I'd like to know is we only have about 10 minutes, unfortunately. Can you talk a little bit about today? How are you feeling? Because this is your first book. It's exciting times, but this can also be kind of stressful. So, for all of our viewers here, we're all good friends. You can be completely honest. What's the day been like?
It's been a wonderful day. And I'll back up a little bit and say that this past Saturday, I did a pre-release book signing event at one of my favorite local indie bookstores. Shout out to Thunder Road Books in Spring Lake, New Jersey. I love the team there. And it was so wonderful to see so many loved ones come out for that. My brother and aunt drove like 7 hours to be there for it. And
wow.
so grateful
That's
for
cool.
that. And I saw familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while, and new faces too, which was incredible. So I was primed a little bit for today, but today, I took the day off of my day job. I still woke up at 5 a.m. like I do every day. Usually I would go straight to the computer and start writing, but I did a lot of my release day work that needs to happen with social and getting a newsletter out and all of that. A lot of interacting. I've been so overwhelmed with all of the love that I've received today. It like really blows my mind. I still managed to get about 2.5 hours of editing in on book two. I did a Facebook takeover of a group over there, and now I'm talking to you guys. So it's just been great to really live in this world today, live in this world that I've created. It's really surreal, and I'm just very grateful for all the support I've received.
That is amazing. And like we can see
Yeah.
that like you're enjoying the moment. Like like you just look very, very happy. And that's wonderful to see because it takes so much hard work, so many sleepless nights, but then you have these moments where you can come together, you can see how your book is affecting people, you can hear how like it is teaching them new things, showing them new perspectives, and all of this amazingness that you've put together in Reese's journey. And so we're thrilled that we get to be a part of your release day and celebrate this with you. We have some more fabulous comments coming in. We've got Melody Walker saying hello. We've got Marcia Kay saying this has been a great kickoff for a fabulous read and excited to read book 2 already. Alma saying prefers vodka as well, almost always with cranberry juice, but do love a good margarita on occasion. I love a good margarita. Not on occasion. I like to have margaritas every time I go out. I love margaritas. And then Annie says Adrian is the king of puns. And hey, neighbor, to JC, I believe.
Yes.
So real quick, because I want to make sure that we get this in for our viewers who are joining us live, as well as folks who are watching this after the fact. We really, really appreciate that we have so many wonderful people that join us for our live giveaways on stream. We really, really appreciate folks that are able to take time out of their day to be with us here, to ask us questions and to chime in and tell us what's going on in their lives. But we also realize that a lot of our viewers watch us after the fact, and we wanted to figure out a way that we could open up our giveaway opportunities to you as well. So with that being said, we're trying something new, so bear with me if it goes haywire. But if you would like to be entered into a giveaway to win a signed copy, a signed paperback of Whiskey Business from Adrian,
Whoa.
I would love it if you could email this email. I'm putting it in the chat so that everybody can see it. Actually, I'm not, because I have the wrong thing copied. Give me a second, guys. You're going to email giveaways at itsbookishtime.com. And you're going to, what word are they going to put in the subject line, Adrian, so that they can enter into the giveaway?
They are going to put in the word unsavory, because Reese has a neighbor who's not very nice in this book, and she's always criticizing the unsavory behavior that his lounge invites into the building.
Yeah, all of that drinking and carousing and misbehaving
And murder.
bachelor partying.
Alley, just, yeah, little.
So I am going to get a lot of emails saying the word unsavory in them. I won't take it to heart when I read them. But you guys, if you'd like to be entered into the giveaway, send me an email, giveaways at itsbookishtime.com. Put the word unsavory in it. If you forget to put the word unsavory, don't worry. Just send that you want to be included in the giveaway. I will email the winner. Let's see. I'll email them tomorrow evening. So the giveaway is open. We'll do for 24 hours. And we'll announce the winner then on our next stream, which is this Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. We're talking with Jack Anderson and his new book, The Return of Moriarty, which is a Sherlock Holmes-inspired mystery, which we're looking forward to. So with the giveaway out in the world right now, Adrian, if you could go back to when you were at that moment where you're like, I don't like this manuscript is not working for me, but you had your critique partners that then said, no, you've got something here, keep at it. What would you say to yourself in that moment that you've realized about why this series was the one that you wanted to publish? What was it that made you feel like this is the one that I want to share with the world?
Wow. That is a very interesting question that I think I would just tell myself to, just as cliche as it sounds, just kind of trust my gut. I think there was just this feeling of, I need to write something that is absolutely perfect, and you just never get there. Everybody has that first novel. There's going to be things, and it's a craft that, I've heard from writers who have written, I mean, you all have written so many books. It's like, you're still probably learning things and feeling,
every day,
and so that's what I think I would just tell myself is, like, absolutely, it's important to make sure that you have something that you're proud of and that you feel like you can stand behind, but also, like, give yourself a little bit of a break. Like, I was getting feedback from my critique partners. I went through the editorial process. Just trust myself that I can tell a story and that it's a journey. It's not a destination.
That is such good advice for any writer to hear. I will freely admit I just published book 24 that I've written, and the entire way I was like, I don't know if I like didn't trust myself, and I felt like I felt so strange. That's like, why where's the confidence that I usually feel? But it's just I think I always forget it. It's always a part of the process with every single book. I always think, whoops, I can't do this. And it's like, wait, no, like, trust yourself.
Of the artist.
Yes. It's
Indeed.
It's a roller coaster. So tell us, what's next? I know today's release day. Do you have more appearances, more Facebook takeovers? Where can people, follow to stay connected with what's going on? How they sign up for your newsletter? All of that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So adrianandover.com is the hub for everything. There's an events tab at the top. There's a whole page of everything that's upcoming. So I have everything linked out there. I have a newsletter on my site that you can sign up for as well. And then if you're on social media, I highly encourage you to follow me because every Wednesday, and tomorrow is Wednesday,
It
I
is.
do Waffle Wednesday, which is my weekly
Ah,
share what I'm reading, what I'm writing, and what I'm up to. And it's a great way to really connect with readers and again, just share what I'm reading, what I'm writing, and what I'm up to. There's so much meaningful interaction that happens in the comments and in DMs. And so I'm always sharing what's right around the corner there. So if you're following Waffle Wednesday, you won't miss a thing.
Nice.
nice.
And not to give too much away of what you're reading and doing for Waffle Wednesday tomorrow, but do you have any recommendations for our audience members? We like to do a little segment of what are you reading, what are you listening to, what are you watching, what should we add to our lists?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm reading, I have two books going right now. I've been very slowly working my way
Ah,
through Tonight in Jungleland, Making of Born to Run. I just was at a signing for this book, so I got it signed, and
wow.
I've been highlighting and annotating everything that I'm learning from this book. So huge Springsteen fan right here.
Wow.
Highly recommend this for anybody who's even like tangentially interested in Springsteen. And then I'm also reading A Murder on the Mountain. It's a cozy mystery.
Nice.
Ellie Alexander, it's a refreshed version of a series that she had published about 10 years ago. And so I'm slowly working through this too. I'm a very slow mood reader.
Mood reader.
Well,
Ooh.
you got a
Yep.
lot going on, so we
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, yeah. How about you, Sarah? What's your recommendation for today's show?
My recommendation, I'm going to go with a TV show that I discovered over the summer and just really love watching. It's called Death Valley, and it's on BritBox. So we watch it
Yeah.
on Amazon. We subscribe to it. Absolutely love it. It's a retired actor who played a detective on TV, and the local detective in the town that he lives in is like a massive fan of his, and she goes to him for advice about her cases, and it's such a cute show, cute dynamic. Love it so much. JC, what about you?
Well, first off, and we got to say, the actor, because yes, we've watched it too. It is so much fun. The actor played by Timothy Spall, who some of us may remember as good old Wormtail from the Harry Potter days, and which makes it even more fun. But yeah, that show is great.
It took me
I'm
so
gonna
long
go-
to get over that, though. I was like,
Yeah,
Wormtail, it took me like 3 episodes before I was like, oh, he's
yeah.
actually a really nice man.
It is, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna shout out something that I've been watching with my lovely wife on Apple TV Plus, Bad Sisters. This is a show of 5 sisters in Ireland, who one of whom is married to an absolute horrific, worst man ever, and how the 4 other sisters try to murder him to free their sister from this terrible life that she's stuck in. And all I'm gonna say is you gotta watch it. It's
Ooh.
hysterical. It is a fabulous whodunit. We don't know until the very final episode who actually finally does get rid of this dude, and he totally deserved to get rid
Oh,
of. Not that
I gotta.
technically I shouldn't be advocating murder, but I write murder mysteries. So Bad Sisters.
Bad Sisters. Gotta write it down.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So
Awesome.
check it out if you have Apple TV Plus.
That sounds like a true crime that I listened to once, where it was like the sisters like freed their youngest sister from this horrible man.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Well, that'll be exciting to check out. We've got a bunch of people agreeing about Death Valley. And yes, that it's set in Wales. I think that like there isn't a lot of, I haven't seen a lot of Welsh TV, and it's so funny for them to like kind of the differences between the English and the Welsh and how they are
Yeah.
very like knocking heads at times. Mizan says that she is a slow reader as well, so you're not alone in that, Adrian. Paula loves Death Valley, but didn't realize that he was Wormtail, so definitely learned something new. Melody Walker has signed up for your newsletter. We've got Catherine, who is a weekly Waffle Wednesday participant. Ooh, try saying that 2 times fast. And then we've got Ludwig recommendation from BritBox
Oh,
and
yes.
Keeping
Yeah, that's
Faith.
really good. Okay.
So, but Keeping Faith is not a cozy one. So those are good. Oh, good. I need recommendations from our audience members too. You guys, this was so fun. I told you it was going to go by so quickly. We're actually 5 minutes over our time, so we have to let our wonderful audience members get back to their lives. But thank you, everyone, for having a moment with us for celebrating Adrian today as whiskey business hits bookstores and shelves and Kindles and Nooks and Kobos and all of that good stuff.
And heart.
Yes, and we're just like so thrilled to be able to share this with you. And for our audience members, remember a last minute plug for the giveaway. If you are watching this after the fact, you have until 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Wednesday, September 10th, to email giveaways@itsbookishtime.com for the chance to enter our giveaway this week. So.
And the
Again,
magic word, don't forget, folks,
yes,
is savor.
unsavory.
Unsavory.
So send me an email with the word unsavory, and again, I will not take it. I will not take it to heart. Adrian, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We really appreciate you stopping by and sharing your time with us on this especially busy day. But we really thank you for being here and being bookish with our audience members.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And for our wonderful viewers, thank you again for being here live. If you're watching us after the fact, we really appreciate your support. Like and subscribe for our channel for any updates, because we have a lot of episodes happening this season. We've got another one ready to go on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, where we're talking the return of Moriarty. So more mystery fun ahead. But until then, stay bookish, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.